Well, once we have the surface model defined, the next thing we're ready to do is start to begin building the features into this particular design. So what we can do is go ahead and turn off our sketches, give you a little bit better idea of what this model looks like, and then let's go ahead and in-place activate back into our solid model. Now once we get into this particular environment, you can see that we've got a lot of sketches and we've got a lot of surfacing going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of these sketches. And then I'm going to right mouse button click, and I'm going to click on the group option, which takes all of those sketches or information and builds a group. And then what I can do is simply rename that group. In this case we'll call it sketches group, and we can kind of combine all of those sketches and put them in one place. Now once our sketches group is created, we can also identify all of the surfaces that we created and build a group from them, again renaming it in this case to surfaces group, and now we have two groups consolidating the information in our display. Once our groups have been created, we're ready to begin our design. In order to do that, the first area that we're going to work on is the handle area. We can expand our sketches group quite easily. We know where that is now, and so I'm going to go ahead and turn on the exterior handle sketch and the interior handle sketch. Then I'm going to use the project command, which you've seen us use earlier, and identify that particular sketch. And what I want to do is project it out to our body in both directions. And you'll see that it builds two curves right on the faces of our model. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and hide our design body, and I'm going to turn off that exterior sketch. I'm then going to go to the surfacing tab and identify the blue surf and pick the center sketch, and then I'm going to identify the third curve, building this interior surface that's going to define that handle area. Once that's complete, we can show our design body again, which will kind of hide that surface, if you will. We might want to go ahead and turn off the internal handle sketch. And then what we can do is come up under the replace button. You'll find a Boolean option where we can actually define that surface and Boolean that information away from our model. Of course, we want to point toward the inside, removing the internal information or surfaces. And you can see that it develops the handle for this particular design. Again, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the curves just to kind of clear up the model a little bit. The next thing that we want to do is we want to build a boss that is going to be used for the thumb switch to turn on and off this particular hand mixer. In order to do that, I'm going to just go to the extrude command, and I'm going to basically work off of the top, but you know what, let's do a parallel reference plane off of the top. And we want to come up about 135 millimeters. And what it does is it locks us into the position that we, the top view into that reference plane, 135 millimeters up from the base reference. And then we can area up a little bit. Another thing we can do is we can turn on the reference planes if we want to. If we want, and in this case I want to turn on those reference planes, I'm then going to come over to the circle command and grab the ellipse by center basically, and just build an ellipse that looks something like this. We can then use Smart Dimension and dimension from the center over, and we want this particular dimension to be 83. So our ellipse center will be offset from the reference plane 83 millimeters. We also can identify the ellipse itself, and for the primary we want to set it to 22, and the secondary we're going to set to 18. When we're done, we come out and we can actually project, and we can use a couple of different options. In this case I'm just going to do through next and point it in the downward direction, and you can see that it builds that boss very quickly for us. You can see the model beginning to take shape. The next thing we're going to do is you create a cutout to give this particular boss some shape across the top. In order to do that, we're going to use, again, using reference planes, we can go ahead and use the front reference plane. And I always like to area up so I can get the best view of what I'm working on. And then under the line command, you'll find where we have the curve option, where we can build a curve. So I'm just going to build a curve, kind of get close to center here. Doesn't have to be dead on center. And then I'm going to turn it up because it is an open profile, and in Solid Edge when you have an open profile it's going to cut across the model. And then once we build this curve, if we need to make any kind of an adjustment, we can. You know, if we want to change the shape of it or whatever it looks like, that's all possible when you build a curve. Just have to manipulate it a little bit. But when we close the sketch, we'll have the option to remove the material, in this case from the top side, and we'll want to go in both directions. And so let's go ahead and select that and remove that material. And it kind of gives you an idea of what that's going to look like. So once our boss is developed and the cutout is created, the next step in this particular process is to go ahead and start adding some rounds to our model, just to get rid of the sharp edges. And so we can go to the round command very quickly. And in this case we're going to pick the top face, and we're going to change that to 2 millimeters. And I'm also going to pick the side faces to our model, and we'll accept them with the right mouse button click. And then the next option we want to select is this around the bottom of the boss, but we're going to change this to 4 millimeters. And then of course we want to come down and change our selection to face and pick the bottom faces of our model. And because dynamic display is turned on, it takes just a few seconds to dynamically round those, and also pick that back face. Now before we accept this, I'm going to go back to my options here and go to Edge Corner, hold my Shift key down and deselect these two lines that are going across. Now once that's done, we can right mouse button click to go ahead and preview and build the rounds on this particular model. And you can see that it helps develop a much smoother looking model. Once the rounds have been completed, we do have capabilities to look at these surfaces. One of those capabilities that we have is through what we call zebra stripes under the Inspect tab, where I can turn on zebra striping. And basically it shows you surface contour and how smooth surface contour can be. Now you'll notice where we added the rounds, there's a little bit of difference in where those rounds are added and where they meet those surfaces. But notice that the blue surf that we created with the tangency continuous across that top face, notice how that's just a continuous tangent surface, even though those are three separate surfaces. So zebra stripes gives you a pretty good idea of the smoothness of the surfaces that you're working with. And if you want to go to settings, obviously we give you several different options. Maybe you want to work with something a little bit different than black and white. You can work with blue and white, or you can even change one of those colors to yellow and give you a little bit different look. You can change the number of stripes, obviously, if you want to do that, and also the thickness. So just kind of depending on what you're